the ultimate measure of engineering ambition. Throughout the steam era, locomotive builders across 3 continents pushed massive machines to velocities that seemed impossible. We are counting down the 15 fastest steam locomotives ever built. Number 15, New York Central, 999. In 1893, before anyone seriously considered that trains could exceed 100 miles per hour, the New York Central claimed its 440 Type 999 reached 112.5 miles per hour while pulling the Empire State Express. Driver Charlie Hogan was at the throttle near Batavia, New York on May 10, 1893. The claim rested on a mailbag catcher timing a quarter-mile stretch. No dynamometer car, no official verification, just one man's stopwatch and a story that grew with each retelling. Think about that, a 19th century locomotive with 86-inch driving wheels allegedly matching speeds that would not be verified for another 42 years. The engineering community remained deeply skeptical. Those massive drivers could theoretically achieve the speed, but the track, the suspension, and the sheer physics of keeping everything on the rails at that velocity made it highly doubtful. What's undeniable is that 999 represented the pinnacle of American locomotive design in the 1890s. It hauled the World's Fair train to Chicago, becoming a celebrity in its own right. The locomotive survives today at the Chicago Museum of Science and Industry, a testament to an era when speed claims were as much publicity as performance. Whether it actually touched 112.5 miles per hour remains one of railroading's most enduring mysteries. The truth probably lies somewhere between the claim and complete fiction. Number 14, LNER Class A3 Papyrus. Before the A4 class became legends, their predecessor showed what was possible. In 1935, Nigel Gresley's A3 Pacific No. 2750 Papyrus completed a test run that changed everything. The locomotive hit 108 miles per hour south of Grantham and proved that steam could sustain triple-digit speeds with a revenue weight train. Driver Bill Sparchat pushed Papyrus hard during the March 5th trial run from London. The run was not just about peak speed. The locomotive averaged 100 miles per hour over long stretches while pulling 6 coaches and a dynamometer car. This was practical high-speed operation, not a publicity stunt designed solely for headlines. The results convinced Gresley to design the streamlined A4 class. If a standard Pacific could manage 108 miles per hour, what could a purpose-built speedster achieve? The answer would come 2 years later with Silverlink and its sisters. But Papyrus deserves recognition as the locomotive that proved the concept. The Big Green Pacific demonstrated that British engineering could match the Germans' early speed records. It showed that with proper track, skilled crews, and robust mechanical design, steam locomotives could sustain speeds previously thought impossible. Today, Papyrus is less celebrated than its A4 descendants, but without this test run, Mallard's record might never have happened. Number 13, LNERA 4, Sir Nigel Gresley. While Mallard gets the glory, Sir Nigel Gresley quietly achieved remarkable speeds throughout its career. This A4, named for its designer, regularly exceeded 110 miles per hour on service runs between London and Edinburgh. Driver records from the 1950s and the 1960s show consistent 112 miles per hour runs during regular operations. What made Sir Nigel Gresley special was not a single record attempt, but sustained high-speed performance over decades. The locomotive handled the demanding East Coast mainline schedule without drama, hitting triple digits as part of routine service. In 1959, during a special run commemorating Gresley's achievements, the locomotive touched 112 miles per hour with apparent ease. The crew reported smooth running throughout, with none of the mechanical stress that plagued other high-speed attempts. The locomotive featured the refined kill-chap exhaust system and carefully balanced motion that made it one of the most technically accomplished A4 locomotives. After preservation, Sir Nigel Gresley returned to mainline operation, becoming one of the few steam locomotives certified to run at 75 miles per hour in the modern era. It remains operational today, a living connection to the golden age of British express steam. The locomotive proves that consistent excellence sometimes matters more than a single spectacular moment. Number 12, LNERA 4 Dominion of Canada. Sister locomotive to Mallard, Dominion of Canada achieved multiple verified runs above 110 miles per hour during the late 1930s. On June 30th, 1937, during a press run for the new coronation service, the locomotive hit 113 miles per hour, with documentation witnessed by reporters. The speedometer readings were confirmed by multiple observers, making this one of the most verified high-speed runs of the era. The locomotive's name honored Canada, and special bells and whistles were fitted to acknowledge its namesake. But the engineering underneath was pure Gressley. After withdrawal in 1965, Dominion of Canada was shipped to Canada for preservation. It sat deteriorating behind the Exparail Museum until 2012, when it returned to Britain for restoration as part of the A4 reunion. The cosmetic restoration revealed a locomotive that had been pushed hard throughout its career. Wear patterns showed extensive high-speed operation, confirming crew reports of regular 110 miles per hour running. Today, Dominion of Canada sits in Montreal, restored to its original garter blue livery. It remains the only A4 preserved outside Britain, a beautiful reminder of the locomotives that routinely operated above 110 miles per hour in daily service. Its speed achievements, though overshadowed by Mallard, were impressive in their consistency. Number 11, LNERA 4, named Quicksilver. The second A4 built, Quicksilver established the class's reputation for speed on its very first runs. During the Silver Jubilee inaugural press trip in September 1935, Quicksilver ran alongside Silverlink, and both locomotives hit 112 miles per hour on different portions of the route. This was not a single peak, but sustained high-speed running that demonstrated the A4 design's capabilities. Driver Henry Gutteridge later reported that Quicksilver felt stable at speeds above 110 miles per hour, with none of the wheel slip or mechanical stress that plagued other high-speed designs. Wind tunnel testing at the National Physical Laboratory had optimized the A4's shape for velocities above 100 miles per hour. Quicksilver proved those tests were not just theory. The locomotive operated successfully until 1964, withdrawn during the diesel transition. Sadly, it was not preserved, and it was scrapped despite its historical significance. Of the 4 original silver locomotives, only fragments survive in museums. But Quicksilver's contribution to high-speed rail cannot be overstated. It demonstrated that the A4 design worked as intended from the very first service runs. No extensive modifications, no teething troubles, just immediate high-speed performance that set the standard for express steam locomotion. Number 10, New York Central Commodore Vanderbilt. Shrouded in Art Deco streamlining, this rebuilt Hudson made impressive speed claims during the mid-1930s. The Streamlined locomotive reportedly achieved 115 miles per hour during test runs in 1934, though verification remains debatable. What is certain is that the Commodore Vanderbilt regularly operated above 100 miles per hour on the water-level route between New York and Chicago. The streamlining, designed by Carl Cantola, reduced wind resistance significantly at high speeds. The locomotive's smooth casing and enclosed running gear allowed sustained triple-digit performance that standard Hudsons could not match. But here engineering met publicity. The New York Central loved promoting speed, and precise documentation was not their priority. Multiple crews reported speeds between 110 and 115 miles per hour, but without dynamometer verification, these remain impressive claims rather than proven records. The locomotive's legacy lies more in pioneering streamlined steam design in America than in establishing speed records. After the streamlining was removed in 1945, the Commodore returned to conventional service, proving the casing was primarily for show. Yet for a brief period in the mid-1930s, this Hudson represented American railroading's speed aspirations, a challenge to European records that came tantalizingly close to verification. Number 9. The Milwaukee Road F7 class. The Class F7 Hudsons that succeeded the A-Class Atlantics were even faster, with documented runs exceeding 110 miles per hour and credible claims reaching 125 miles per hour. These massive 464 locomotives, numbered 100 through 105, hauled the expanded Hiawatha services starting in 1938. A Trains magazine reporter reported 2 separate 110 miles per hour runs in January 1941 during a snowstorm. Think about that. Racing through Wisconsin winter weather at 110 miles per hour with complete stability. But the most intriguing claim comes from Baron Gerard Vuillet, a French railroad expert who recorded a run where F7, number 102, allegedly hit 125 miles per hour and sustained 120 miles per hour for 4.5 miles between Chicago and Milwaukee. No dynamometer car verified this, but Vuillet's reputation and detailed notes lend credibility. The F7s featured 84-inch driving wheels, 300 pounds per square inch boiler pressure, and streamlining by Otto Kuhler. They were built for sustained high-speed operation, not occasional sprints. The schedule required averaging 81 miles per hour between Portage and Sparta, Wisconsin, a 78-mile stretch covered in just 58 minutes. On July 27, 1950, the main rod on F7 number 102 failed at over 100 miles per hour near Chicago. The locomotive stayed on the rails, but the broken rod destroyed 1,400 feet of track. That the locomotive survived demonstrates the robust engineering that made these speeds possible. Number 8, LNERA-4 Silver Fox. On August 27, 1936, Silver Fox hit 113 miles per hour during a test run designed to measure water and coal consumption. Driver George Haygreen pushed the locomotive hard up Stoke Bank, though he reportedly was not informed this was a speed attempt. The timing was unfortunate. Haygreen did not have sufficient speed entering the climb, limiting the peak velocity achieved. Even so, 113 miles per hour was a British record for a revenue-earning steam train. The locomotive suffered middle big end damage from the effort, requiring repairs at Peterborough, but the run proved a 4s could sustain speeds above 110 miles per hour even when not operating under optimal conditions. Silver Fox featured the early version of the KYL-CHAP exhaust system, which improved steaming at high speeds but was not yet perfected. Later, A4s would incorporate refined versions of this technology, enabling better performance. The locomotive also carried unusual stainless steel Fox emblems on both sides of the streamlining, supplied by Sheffield steelmaker Samuel Fox and Company. After the speed run, Silver Fox continued in top-flight express service until 1965. It was not preserved. It was scrapped during the great cull of steam locomotives that followed electrification. Today, the 113 miles per hour run stands as a testament to what might have been achieved with proper preparation. Number 7, Milwaukee Road Class, A. Number 2. On May 15, 1935, Milwaukee Road Atlantic No. 2 set a verified speed record that shocked the railroad world. During a test run between Milwaukee and New Lisbon, Wisconsin, with a dynamometer car recording every detail, the locomotive hit 112.5 miles per hour over a 14-mile stretch. This was the first authenticated steam locomotive speed above 110 miles per hour anywhere in the world. Think about that timing. This was months before Silverlink's first run. The Americans got there first. The Class A Atlantics were designed by Alco specifically for sustained 100 miles per hour operation on the Hiawatha service. With 84-inch driving wheels and 300 pounds per square inch boiler pressure, they represented cutting-edge American locomotive technology. The streamlining by Otto Kuhler was not just for show. Wind tunnel testing had optimized the shape for minimum drag at triple-digit speeds, but the real innovation was reliability. These locomotives cruised above 100 miles per hour daily, maintaining schedules that required average speeds of over 80 miles per hour. The Class A represented America's answer to European speed claims. Number 2's record stood as the world's fastest for several months until challenged by the British and the Germans. For American railroads, it proved domestic engineering could match anything Europe produced. The first A4 Pacific emerged from Doncaster Works in September 1935 and immediately demonstrated what streamlined steam could achieve. On September 27th, during a press demonstration run, Silverlink twice hit 112.5 miles per hour on different sections between London and Grantham. The locomotive sustained an average of 100 miles per hour over 43 miles. This was not a brief sprint. This was sustained, triple-digit running that proved the A4 design worked perfectly. Driver George Henry Haygreen reported excellent stability at high speeds. 4 days later, Silver Link entered regular service on the Silver Jubilee, Britain's first streamlined express. The train maintained schedules requiring speeds above 90 miles per hour between London and Newcastle. For passengers, the Silver Jubilee offered unprecedented speed and comfort. Silver Link's success spawned 34 sister locomotives over the next 3 years. The class proved capable of exceeding 110 miles per hour when required. Silver Link continued in service until December 1962, when dieselization ended the A4's reign on the East Coast Main Line. Sadly, the original Pioneer was not preserved. Sister locomotive Bittern was later restored in Silver Link's livery. Number 5. LMS Coronation Class 6220 Coronation. On June 29, 1937, the London, Midland and Scottish Railway's brand new Coronation reached 114 miles per hour just south of Crewe, breaking the British speed record held by Silver Link. Driver Tom Clark pushed the streamlined Pacific hard down Madeley Bank, with Robert Riddles riding the footplate. The speedometer registered 114 miles per hour, confirmed by multiple observers. Celebration turned to terror. The train was still doing 110 miles per hour just a mile and a half from Crewe Station. Emergency braking helped, but Coronation thundered through the station's reverse curves at 57 miles per hour, more than triple the 20 miles per hour limit. Passengers were thrown about, crockery smashed spectacularly. The locomotive and train stayed on the rails through sheer good fortune and William Stannier's inherently stable design. Despite the drama, Coronation's record stood. The LMS had beaten the LNER, at least temporarily. Both companies quietly agreed to end the speed race. Coronation represented the pinnacle of LMS Express locomotive design. The Princess Coronation class were the most powerful steam engines built for British railways, developing over 3,300 horsepower. That power enabled the high-speed performance that briefly made Coronation Britain's fastest. The record lasted just over a year until Mallard's famous run. Number 4. Pennsylvania Railroad Class T1. The Pennsylvania Railroad's distinctive duplex drive T1s were designed for sustained high-speed operation, and crews regularly pushed them beyond theoretical limits. Multiple engineers reported speeds between 100 and 140 miles per hour during normal service. Franklin Railway supply engineers Julius Kirchhoff and Ray Delano both confirmed seeing T1s operated at 110 miles per hour to make up time on the Fort Wayne division. They timed locomotives passing mileposts to determine speeds. The claims are credible because the T1s had everything necessary: 4 sets of driving wheels, each powered by separate cylinders, streamlined shrouding, and 80-inch drivers. The Franklin Type A poppet valves should have enabled efficient steam distribution at high speeds. But here is the problem. The valve gear failures plaguing the T1s were caused by operating above design speeds. The locomotives could hit 140 miles per hour. Whether mechanical components could survive doing so remains questionable. No official dynamometer runs documented these extreme velocities. Today, the T1 Trust is building a replica numbered 5550 with plans to attempt the steam speed record. If completed, it might finally prove what the originals could achieve. Until then, the 140 miles per hour claims remain impressive but unverified. On May 11, 1936, German locomotive 05002 reached 200.4 kilometers per hour, which translates to 124.5 miles per hour on the flat straight Berlin to Hamburg line. This was the first verified steam locomotive speed above 120 miles per hour anywhere in the world. The Streamlined 464 was purpose-built for sustained high-speed operation, featuring 2.3-meter driving wheels and advanced aerodynamics developed through wind tunnel testing. Unlike later record attempts that used downhill gradients, 05002 achieved its speed on level track while hauling 197 tons. 19 days later, the same locomotive set another record by averaging 86.6 miles per hour over 70 miles between Wittenberge and Berlin-Spandau. The Class 05 locomotives represented the pinnacle of German steam technology in the 1930s. Only 3 were built. They regularly hauled express trains at speeds exceeding 110 miles per hour before World War II interrupted operations. The streamlined casing was removed during the war for easier maintenance. After the war, all three returned to service with Deutsche Bundesbahn. They operated until 1958, when diesel hydraulic locomotives replaced them on express services. Only 05001 survives today, displayed at the DB Museum in Nuremberg. The 124.5 miles per hour record stood for 2 years until Mallard's famous run. Number 2. The Pennsylvania Railroad Class S1. The massive 6446 S1, the longest reciprocating steam locomotive ever built, generated speed claims that would have shattered all records if officially verified. Multiple sources report speeds between 133 and 156 miles per hour during the locomotive's brief career between 1939 and 1946. A December 1941 Popular Mechanics article cited 133.4 miles per hour recorded by Pennsylvania Railroad Assistant Road Foreman Charlie Wappies during test runs. German trade publications in 1945 reported that Interstate Commerce Commission officials documented 141.2 miles per hour when the S1 was making up time. The most extreme claim suggests 156 miles per hour on the Fort Wayne to Chicago run, allegedly resulting in a fine because steam engines were not supposed to travel that fast. The engineering supports these claims. The S1 featured 84-inch driving wheels and Raymond Loewy's distinctive streamlined shrouding. During a December 1940 test run, the locomotive achieved a verified 100.97 miles per hour on level track while pulling 1,350 tons. If it could manage 101 miles per hour with that load, higher speeds with lighter consists seem entirely plausible. But the S1's fundamental flaw was weight distribution. Only 47% of its mass rested on driving wheels, causing severe wheel slip problems throughout its career. The S1 spent more time being repaired than operating, and it was ultimately scrapped in 1949. Number 1. LNER Class A 4468 Mallard. On July 3, 1938, on Stoke Bank between Grantham and Peterborough, Mallard achieved 126 miles per hour and secured its place in history forever. Driver Joseph Duddington and fireman Thomas Bray pushed the 4-month-old locomotive down the 1 in 200 gradient, with 7 coaches and a dynamometer car recording every detail. The official record shows 125.88 miles per hour sustained for 5 seconds, with a 1-second peak at 126 miles per hour. Recent analysis suggests the sustained speed was actually 124 miles per hour for almost a mile. Either way, it remains the fastest verified speed ever achieved by a steam locomotive. The price was high. The middle big end bearing overheated and failed after the record run. The locomotive had to stop at Peterborough rather than continuing to London. The bearing metal had melted from the extreme stress. Inspector Sid Jenkins and driver Duddington both stated they could have reached 130 miles per hour if they had not needed to slow for junctions. We will never know. World War II began 14 months later, and Gresley's planned second attempt never happened. Mallard continued in service until 1963, covering nearly 1.5 million miles. Today it resides at the National Railway Museum in York, the most famous steam locomotive in the world. The record has stood for 87 years. And that's all, folks. That's 15 of the fastest steam locomotives ever built. Some verified, some claimed, all representing the absolute limits of steam technology. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.